Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Riveting Trips with Jeanie Colclough. I'm your host, Jeanie Colclough. I'm a Condé Nast top travel specialist. And on this podcast, I invite friends and colleagues around the world to share their expertise for your next family vacation. So on this episode, I have my dear friend, Mirielle. I'm going to let her introduce herself and tell you all about why she's here today. Hi, Mirielle. Take it away.
So yes, I'm Mirielle Dennison Yachting, and I do yacht brokerage, which means I help people buy and sell yachts, but I also do yacht charters. So that's what we're going to talk about today is family vacations on your own private charter vessel.
Okay. Now that sounds really fancy. Can you break apart like where, when? I mean, what are some, if you are a family looking to go on a holiday, right? You're constrained by the time of holiday vacations, right? So the typical winter break, Thanksgiving break. Here in California, we have ski week, which is in February, April, and then obviously all of summer break. So for that first time traveler that's kind of dipping their water, why would they consider a yacht vacation versus like a family cruise, let's say?
Okay. So, well, first of all, when you're together with your family on a yacht, it's like being in a home. I mean, a resort is nice, but it feels like a hotel still at the end of the day, where your yacht is a floating home. So, this is actually a yacht charter vessel, but let me just give you an example here. This would be a catamaran charter. It's not,
Beautiful.
this is what the interior of the charter boat looks like. It looks
Wow.
like your house, right? It's not like a cruise ship where you're just staying in your cabin, and then to have these kind of experiences, you have to go outside. I mean, this is like your actual living space. So that helps in the big part of it because you feel like you're in a home, especially if you're going with kids. It's incredibly safe for families, feel comfortable with them running around an entire cruise ship on their own, or even at a resort going out, especially after dark. And then if you have preteens or teens, may not be ready to pack it up and go to sleep on a yacht. They can actually hang out with the crew. The crew will play games with them, put video games together for them. Maybe they're going to be hanging out on the hot tub. Again, you've got a crew that's not that they're babysitters, but they're there, to make sure that they're safe. That is their job. And at the end of the day, it's just fun to go out and lay on the back of a vessel, look up and look at the Milky Way. Because when you're out in the ocean, it's just so beautiful to see that. So a lot of stuff for the kids to do, very safe, and yet it's still like a home.
Wanted to apologize for mispronouncing your name, okay,
That's
in the
okay.
beginning. And in terms of like cost, right? People are wondering about, probably questioning, how much does it cost to charter a private yacht for them? If it's your first time, what kind of locations or places would you recommend going with children? Maybe different age groups. Maybe with young kids, you go here. With older kids that can do more hands-on activities or snorkeling, just being able to stop. What I like about private boats is that you can just tell the captain, okay, we're going to stop right here. And we just want to
Absolutely.
chill, right?
100%. We will work with you as your advisor to plan your itinerary around exactly what kind of things that you want to do with your family. But let's say you're out one day on an island, you meet another cool family, your kids are getting along with their kids, and everybody's playing and having a great time. And you decide you don't want to go to the next island that you had on your itinerary the next day. You come back or you call the captain and say, we've decided we just want to stay here for the night. Good for you. You can do that. You can't do that on a cruise ship.
Yeah, you cannot do that on a cruise
Captain's
ship.
not waiting for you. But as far as where to go, whether it's your first time or you've been on a million times, again, it really depends on all kinds of things because there are just so many options. We have over 17,000 vessels around the world, as little as $15,000 for the week, up to $1 million for the week. So it just really depends on you. What's your budget? Where do you want to go? What kind of yacht do you want to be on? So the boat I showed you before is a Power Cat. These are great for the Bahamas. They're great in the Caribbean, around the Virgin Islands. I mean, they're really great anywhere. They're some of my favorite boats. You can, because it has two hulls, it's a catamaran,
Right.
you can literally put a glass of wine down and be going over waves, and that thing will not spill over.
Wow.
You're
Yeah,
going to
those
be
are fun.
you're going to be hitting waves. It's going to move. So I love catamarans for that reason. But maybe a catamaran isn't your thing. We have mega yachts. We have sailboats. And again, usually for all different sizes, people. So you can have
Wow.
a vessel like this. And just
So
so
you
you
could
know,
charter that one for an event or an anniversary or a big birthday, maybe.
anything. But this is
Right.
the interior of that vessel. So, and let's see, here is the whoops, that's me. What
That
happened
looks
there?
great.
Oh, that's what happened there. But anyway, you can see the interior, still beautiful. All these vessels are gorgeous. It just depends on where you want to go. But do you want to do something with your kids where you're exploring? Maybe you want to do an Alaskan cruise, something
Mm,
like this, where you can go see the mountains. Maybe you want to go out into the Bahamas. And it really depends on the crew as well. The crew is going to know that specific area, whether you're in Phuket, you're in the Amalfi Coast, you're in Greece, wherever you are, and they're going to know cool little places. They're going to say, well, let's take you over to this island or this area today. There's a little cove over here. There's a private cave where you can go in and explore with the kids, something
yeah,
like that. I mean, it's really up to the crew to help you find those really interesting things to do. But maybe you want to do something like go to New England, where you can, at every port you go, there's museums and there's historical aspects.
those are good questions to ask the client on the intake call, right? What kind of experience do you want? Obviously, what's your budget? But is there anything you think that would differentiate, like for the kids that are really young on board? Yeah, they don't have to worry about the activities because they're young kids, right? They don't,
Right.
mom and dad are there. But how about for like the teens and tweens? What kinds of activities
Absolutely.
would you recommend?
And there again, depends on the boat you pick, but let's go back to this vessel. So here's
Wow.
mom and dad up here, laying, lounging, enjoying themselves. And here's all the toys. So the captain or one of the mates will take you out and they can just run around and be on the dinghy. You've got paddle boards and jet skis, and these are sea bobs. There's two different sea bobs. You've got wave runners. I mean, everything that you would want to do is right here, all kinds of water sports. And again, you can be relaxing and enjoying yourself
Right.
while the family's out there, because you're going to have the crew there with them. If they're not old enough yet to even ride on the wave runner, they'll drive the wave runner for them. I
Okay.
mean, so you've got, it's almost like having babysitters again,
It,
but not really,
I'm not gonna complain about that. How about in terms of for you yourself? Like, what are your top three favorite itineraries for you and maybe other potential family members? If you have extended group, like let's say it's a multi-generational family of like 10 people, right? Where would you recommend like top three destinations?
Well, always the Bahamas. So back to the same place again. I mean, that's where the vessel you just saw from the top. This is that same boat. You can see here. It's just hang on. Look
Wow,
at
the waters are crystal blue.
the
If
water
you're
in the
listening to this podcast, I mean, you have to look at the images on
And
the
those are all
YouTube.
the toys, the wave runners, the jet skis, the dinghy, and then you can see the Bahamas up here behind you, the beautiful white sand beaches. Definitely a place to go. There's a lot of vessels that have things like this, like the slides for the kids.
Oh, fun.
I love about the Bahamas too is there's just so much exploring. Here, you've got stuff for your kids to go see the animals. You can go swimming with the pigs. You can go swimming with the stingrays. Whatever it is you want to do, there's just so much beautiful exploring to do there. Beautiful beaches like this. I
Oh,
mean, it's just,
wow.
you know, you just don't get that anywhere else. It's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. And
How
that's one
about
of the
this?
things I love about the Bahamas. One of the other places you could go is like
Okay.
Phuket. We talked about this
All
earlier.
right.
As you know, when you get over into Asia, you have this kind of
Right.
spot.
The craggy rocks and the
Yeah,
cave.
absolutely beautiful, but it's just totally different than the Bahamas that's flat and you have those just crystal clear blue waters, you can't beat that. And so much stuff for the kids to do. And if you get the right vessel, you can even have a hot
Oh, a
tub on
hot
it.
tub. Ah,
And a
okay.
lot of vessels, and it doesn't have to be expensive. You can probably get a yacht with a hot tub on it for under $50,000 for the week.
That's not
It's a
bad.
great thing to keep the kids busy. But I love, this is my new vessel because I am going to Asia for the next year. I
Okay.
on one of these. They call it, some places called a goulette. It's a
Yes.
very classical.
I've seen them in Turkey also.
I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of made in Turkey, but they're very popular in Asia as well. These are all over Phuket. They're modern on the inside, but not modern like modern. I mean, they've been gutted and redone to where they're absolutely beautiful inside.
I think we went on one in Vietnam. I'm not sure. Like Halong Bay has a lot of overnight or week-long cruises and lots of
And they
bays in
have
Vietnam.
where you can go, like traditionally 12 is the max people on a charter no matter where you are in the world. There
Okay.
are a few vessels that are specialized to go larger than that, and I did find some over in Asia that will do 18 or 24 people. So if you had a big family, or maybe if you wanted to do something with some colleagues or some friends or some big anniversary or birthday party and you wanted to have a big group of people, you can definitely get these for more people.
How about
Yeah.
in terms of season? If you're talking about the Bahamas, right, there's hurricane season. Are there certain seasons you wish to avoid as a family?
Yeah, I mean, like with anywhere you go, there's going to be rainy seasons, hurricane seasons, but definitely this time of year, a lot of the vessels in the Bahamas will make their way over to the Med. This
Okay.
time of year, they're more over there, which would be, Turkey, Croatia, the Amalfi Coast, Greece, Ibiza. That whole area is very popular this time of year, and the boats will do a transatlantic crossing to go over there to make the most money that they can, and then they'll be back over here in the wintertime because the Bahamas is beautiful in the winter. It's not as hot. It's still gorgeous blue water. We have so many people that want to go on holiday in the Bahamas during the Christmas and New Year's Eve,
That's right.
and then of course through your spring breaks.
That's amazing. How
Yeah,
about you personally? What's been your favorite? Is it been the Bahamas for you?
the Virgin Islands. So
Okay.
specifically the British Virgin Islands. The BVIs are amazing. I did that between Christmas and New Year's a couple years ago, and we did it on a power cat like the one I showed you earlier. What's really cool about power cats when you're talking about budgeting, which is another piece of our conversation we can have in a little bit, but power cats use very little fuel, just like a sailboat or a
Okay.
sailing cat. We toured around. We went to every single island except the one that was really far away for 8.5 days, almost full days. We were there. $200 in fuel was all we spent. Now, if
Wow.
you're on a big yacht, you're gonna spend like 10, 15,000, maybe $20,000 on fuel for a week. So if you're on a budget but you still want to have this luxurious experience, consider a power cat because they're so efficient.
Yeah, I guess that brings up a good question. Are there yachts and boats becoming more eco-friendly or anything like that in terms of the fuel and other, renewable sources?
There's a lot that are using more electric now, that are using more solar, not as many in the charter. This is still a work in progress. Go to some boat shows, because people still want to go really fast in boats unless they're sailors and they're used to just sailing and taking it nice and easy. But let's talk about customizing and talking about your budget because literally everything is customizable from the yacht itself to the food, your provisioning, your drinks, your cocktails, and the itinerary, of course. So, again, let's use Greece as an example. You're going to go to Greece and you're going to start off in Athens and you're going to go to all the different islands throughout Greece, but maybe you decide not to go to two of the farthest away. You like Mykonos really well, and you decide to stay there 2 days. That's an extra day of fuel you're not using. So you're breaking down, not using as much fuel. Also, when you pick out the food, you're going to meet with your advisor, like myself, and one of the crew members, and we're going to go shopping for you at the grocery store, just the regular old grocery store. But we'll get you the nicest cuts of steak and the best lobster or whatever it is that you want to eat. But if you're having Dom Perignon with every meal, your
Right.
budget could be really high.
Yeah, the local wine, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So you control the spending. But what's great, if you go to a resort, think about when you go to the pool, you pay $15 for a beer or $30 for a cocktail. They don't up the prices on yachts like they do in resorts.
So that
Disney.
markup is not there then. It's just they just sell it for what it's at.
Well, you're going to put the money into an advanced provisioning account. It's called the APA. And we'll put so much into that escrow account. And depending on what you want them to buy for you, again, this is a service they provide. So you're not having to go grocery shopping and bring all your stuff into the yacht. They're going to go shopping for you. And then they just pull the money out of that account to pay for whatever they went shopping for and to pay for the fuel that you've used, stuff like that. So you can control that spending and a lot of times actually get a refund at the end of the charter because you didn't use all your
I
money.
didn't use it all. Then I probably need more wine on that trip. Okay, all jokes aside, sometimes I have clients that ask me, I like the water, but I'm afraid because of motion sickness and things like that. So are there certain types of categories of boats that are better for people who might be motion sick versus others?
Definitely a catamaran again because of the two hulls, it keeps you more grounded. And then obviously the bigger the boat, just like a cruise ship is not gonna you're not gonna feel it as much, even though I can't tell I'm on a boat at all when I'm on a cruise ship, but other people say that they feel the motion sickness. So it's again gonna depend on the person. But if you're around the Bahamas and you're on a catamaran and the weather is great, you shouldn't even be able to tell you're on the water at all.
That's good to know, right? We can tell clients that they should be okay. for the trip, I
Yeah.
think, for the duration. And generally, it's always a week minimum, or is there a certain minimum that most charters want?
Yeah, usually it's a week. They'll go down to 5 days, but they're going to prorate it over 7 and charge you for 6. So
Okay.
you might as
So you
well
might as
just
well
take the week.
take the
Take
week,
the
take the
week
week.
and enjoy
Uh,
it. Absolutely.
is there anything families can do, like things that they should bring before they go on a yacht charter? I mean, aside from like the bathing suit and the sunscreen and things like that, anything else that you would recommend that kids bring? Or sometimes people are worried about like Wi-Fi, right? I don't know if Wi-Fi is an issue on boats.
So first of all, you should be enjoying your vacation and not worrying about that. I'm not a big cruiser, but it is one of the things I love about cruise ships is that I don't have a choice. Like I don't have Wi-Fi because even if you pay for the premium Wi-Fi, it's still horrible. But a lot of the vessels now they have Starlink.
Starlink, yeah.
Thanks to Elon Musk, we have Starlink up in the sky instead of sat phones out in the middle of the ocean. So not every vessel has that, but if that's something that's important to you and you don't want to 100%, unplug, then we'll find you a vessel that has Starlink so that you have access to that. Absolutely, we can do that.
And on the
Otherwise, people
yeah,
just go to whatever the next
right.
island is, go into a restaurant, use the Wi-Fi there, and that way, when you're on the vessel, you're 100% relaxed and enjoying yourself.
That sounds like fun. I mean, I think we've only taken our kids on separate day boating adventures. We rented a catamaran in Mexico and around Cabo. Another time we were in Colombia and we got a private boat to the Rosario Islands and went snorkeling and hung out at the beach. So kids really do enjoy those kinds of activities to get away from the hustle and bustle of the city if you can combine both. And I think if you have your own private charter, you can do that too, right? Like you said, you can go, the dock is usually very close to the city center, and then
Mhm.
pick up your guide, and your guide could do a land tour and you can mix and match activities. But how does it work if somebody, I don't know if this is a common thing, where they charter you for a few nights and then they do land for a couple days and then come back to you for a couple nights? Is that something that you are willing to do if their budget is amenable?
Well, if the yacht is waiting there for you, you're paying for it.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like you can break it up. Like let's go back to using Greece as an example. If you wanted to go to Greece, get on the yacht, go do it for 5 or 6 days, they could drop you off at the last port. If let's say that you want to stay there, Mykonos again, and just not take the yacht back, but you're still responsible for paying to make sure the boat goes back to its home base.
So I think that's something that we want to clarify for people who are listening, right? If you are going to rent a yacht, that you need to consider that you're paying for it for that week-long charter, and that if you want to include other land overnight stays in either pre or post the charter, right?
For sure.
That's what I mean.
I used to do day charters here in Miami because I never mentioned that earlier, but I'm in Miami Beach. I'm not in California, but I can help people anywhere in the world with charters or sailing of boats. Doesn't matter where the vessels are. But I had my own yacht charter company here, and we did 4, 6, and 8 hour charters, occasionally an overnight charter. But I just wouldn't understand these people that would come and then they'd want me to take them to a restaurant and they go in for 2 hours of their 4 hour charter and eat and then come back. And then all we had time to do is get them back to the dock. I was like,
Yeah.
go enjoy your charter and go out to eat later.
Yeah. I don't think people really realize it, right? They just want like a little taste and see if they enjoy it. But I think spending the time on a yacht for a week, your private chef, if you have your captain, you have all the cabin crew.
Yep.
I mean, it's just a very relaxing holiday.
Absolutely. I mean, it is a true 5-star experience. And like I said, you actually save money in the places like with the food and the drink because in most resorts nowadays, those prices have just gone
Yeah.
outrageous, outrageous. I just was in the Bahamas at the new Baha Mar Resort. They have several restaurants from Miami there that I've eaten at in Miami that are expensive in Miami, and they were 1.5 times the price over there for
In
the
Bahamas.
exact same stuff. And I'm like, are you kidding? Like a fried chicken dinner with two sides was $65. I'm like, it's fried chicken. What is going on here? But
Okay, so maybe
cost
yacht is more cost effective then, huh?
let's say the cost to make that was $10. That's all it would cost you on the yacht because you're not, the cost of the chef is already included in your charter price. She's doing, or he or she is doing the cooking. They're not charging you for that. So, and then you can also get it however you want it. Or let's say you've had your dinner and it's now 10 o'clock at night and you're like, I want some nachos. Just call them up and say, make me nachos, or I want a grilled cheese sandwich, whatever you want. They're there to make sure you have the best experience possible.
Can we also include like people who might do health and wellness for the parents or adults? Is that an option for some of the
There are
charters?
some of the boats that will have somebody on board that can do massages or meditation and things like that. Again, we have to find the right vessel or bring that person along, but everything is customizable 100%. I mean, even let's talk about if it's your birthday or there's an anniversary, or maybe you want to do some kind of theme party. A lot of these boats already have like party gear for certain themes that they'll put together for you to just always break it up so that, there's something different every night. But if there's a specific theme you want to do, they'll do it. But what about something like this? I'll show you this. Let's see. How about a beautiful dinner or lunch on the
Oh,
beach like this? I
that's
mean, this is your
beautiful.
captain and crew. They're setting it up right on the beach for you. I mean, literally, whatever you can imagine, they can do.
I was thinking like when I saw that maybe like, an anniversary, right? And you have a few family members, the kids, the older adult kids or something like that. Or if you have parents that get married and they're both divorced and they get married and they're combining families, that looks like a really nice place to celebrate, that kind of event, right?
Absolutely.
Or
Absolutely.
even a high school or college graduation.
Oh, and the other thing, don't forget this. Most boats now, you can bring your pets.
Really?
Yeah. Not
Okay.
all of them, but most of them now you can also bring pets with you. So for
How
those
does that
people
work?
out
Do
there
they
saying,
have
well, I
to?
can't leave my pet for a week. Well, you sure can't take it on a cruise ship. You can bring it on
Mm,
your own private yacht.
okay, that's good to know. But they still have to get the pet over there.
However, you get it everywhere else you go.
I
But
don't know. I know there's
literally
certain
everywhere
countries have
these
like
days.
quarantines, right? Have certain rules for pets,
Oh,
but
quarantine.
yeah. No, but that's good to know. Okay, so you can bring pets,
Mhm.
right? You can have your own private staff
Yep,
and you can stop wherever and whenever you want, right?
pretty
I don't
much.
know. Are there any negatives to this kind of vacation?
Not that I'm aware of. No. I mean, like I said, I can go on a catamaran, I can go on a mega yacht, I can go on a sailboat, I can go on a fishing vessel. Every experience is going to be different. And then go to a different locale, a different place in the world for each of those. Because you could even do like the Galapagos. I mean, they have
Right.
big vessels that go to Galapagos.
Galapagos.
And you're with, you're kind of being herded in and out, herding in the kittens. Here, you can come and go as you please. If you want to go down and diving multiple times a day, the crew's going to set that up for you. Think of where you want to go, and we'll find a vessel that meets your needs and make it right for you and your family, or you and your friends, if it's just a bunch of friends. I actually recently, through our provisors group, how we know each other, had two different people reach out to me and ask about what about customizing a charter that included golf. So I
Oh,
went through all the islands in the Bahamas and found all the ones that had golf courses. They did their research to find out which ones they'd want to golf at.
right.
To a captain and crew of a boat, said these are the places they want to go. They want to bring their golf clubs on board the boat with them. No problem. They've got storage for that. And then each morning they can dinghy them into the island. They
Okay.
go golfing. Let's say they're done by noon. They come back and then they're on their yacht and enjoying, whether they are swimming or diving or jet skiing,
Yeah.
relaxing, whatever it is they want to do the rest of the day. But they get their golf in too.
That's amazing. I have one last question. How about lead time? How much time would you recommend people have in terms of booking availability and researching and trying to make sure that they paid for this all on time and getting what they want?
I've done it in as little as a week. I would not suggest that, but I did. It just so happened that some clients had guests coming and their own yacht engine failed. And they had less than a week. They knew they weren't going to get the part in time. They said, "Where can you find us a similar yacht to ours that we can, that way we don't have to cancel our friends that are coming to visit us. They've already got all their flights booked and everything else." So I did, and we found it, but it was not easy. But I would say give yourself at least a couple of months, like you said,
Okay.
to find the right vessel. We can talk about all kinds of different itineraries, make sure we're going to go to the places you want to go to, make sure we find the right crew and the staff that's going to work for you and your family or your friends or whatever you want your charter to be. Like I said, we might find the perfect vessel and it's not the time that you want because someone else has it booked. So then we're going to try to find something similar. but obviously the more lead time, the better.
Okay. That I mean, our conversation is so enlightening, right? For those of you who are listening out there, hopefully this gives you a new idea of what to do with your family and friends. I mean, if you had not considered yacht chartering, I definitely would recommend it because it does give you private access. And I think in today's idea of mass tourism, you want to escape the crowds as much as possible. And what better way than your own private yacht? Thank you
Yes.
so much for listening to another episode of Riveting Trips with Jeanie Colclough. I'm Jeanie Colclough, and if you like what you heard, share, like, subscribe. You know the deal, folks. Okay, ciao, ciao for now, everybody. And stop. I'm gonna